So welcome to our 7th Lioness of Light Oracle Within Journey session for each of you present live and each of you watching this replay in your own time as you will via YouTube. And I'm Zenta, and we are going to today move into the journey of Purnululu dreaming, which happens to be the 7th oracle of the Lioness of Light oracle. And as is the way, this oracle is very connected to the Pleiades, the 7 sisters. It just happened to be the 7th painting, which of course then has become the 7th oracle. And it's a lovely synchronicity that today the date happens to be the 7th. So this is just part of it, and very much part of the essence of what I love to share with you, and that we did touch on through Starline when I shared a little bit of the number 22 that was playing in for me personally around that constellation and all the dreams that I had over many decades to do with Africa that I then later discovered reduced to the number 22, which actually when I watched the replay, I noticed I had said reduced to the number 2, but it was actually 22. And the year that I journeyed to Africa in a life cycle 22. So what this is all about is not so much about, oh, you know, I'm so special with all these number synchronicities, but actually to share with you, you know, that these threads, these patterns, these synchronicities of number, of pattern, of color, of noticing a flower that keeps coming, you know, or a bird you keep noticing, anything, you know, that weaves itself into your life, into our lives, offers its own mystery, its own resonance of enlivening to your own story, to your own experience. It's not about that number or that plant or that, you know, creature having a specific, absolute, one size fits all meaning. Sometimes we don't even know really what the meaning is, but it's just the pattern and the play of synchronicity that, in a sense, the universe is offering you this gift of allowing you, opening you further to recognizing the sacred mystery of your own experience, and that you are forever held and vibrating with that greater mystery, the greater threads that we are of. And sometimes we can actually have a sense of particularity around that imprint of number, around that, you know, flower or creature or geometry even, or color that keeps coming into our life or comes in cycles. And it's like, ah, yes, you know, I don't understand the full wholeness of this story of what this is connected to and what it is calling forth in me, but I know I am held somehow within this. And that is the gift, and that is for each of us to explore, to celebrate, and to honor. And just with all the stories that I share with you here in our sessions, my experiences, dreamings, they're just distilled versions of my own reflections, my own experiences. None of it is the truth, a truth that should be your truth. They're just sharings, just offerings for you, for those of you who may resonate with elements or aspects of it, or even just the way the story's offered, to then receive and allow that to inspire, to uplift, to nourish, to excite, and allow that greater wonderment for your own story, your own oracles within, the oracle of your own life. and its mystery pathway. So very much with the sharing today of Purnululu dreaming, this is very much embedded to do with the flow of synchronicity, the wonder of the threads that we are held by and that reveal themselves and gift themselves to us sometimes in the most unexpected way. So perhaps to begin with, I'd like to first share with you a little bit of background around the painting and the very special story that arose and wove back through that. It is in itself, again, along the lines of what we've just spoken of. So it's to do with the fact that I went on a journey with a group of others, Earth Treasure Vase journey, and you can look that up, Google it, Earth Treasure Vase Global Project, founded by an extraordinary woman named Cynthia Dewars. So I do invite you to have a look and follow that trail if it enlivens something for you, just to see this extraordinary body of global offering to do with sacred activism, which is the deep gesture toward healing, spirit embodied in matter, and then the ripple effect of how that can flow and generate so much on both the kind of the real-time level of healing and change and restoration and restitution in community, to do with the earth on this planet, and with the energetic of spirit and that which is held within our hearts toward that. So before I move into everything, I will share with you the personal story of the aspect to do with the painting Purnululu Dreaming, through which and of which the oracle is. So I'll just read this little bit. The journey to Purnululu, which for those of you outside of Australia is known as the Bungle Bungle Ranges in the Western Australia. So if you're looking at the map of Australia, you've got Uluru at the centre, and then above and slightly to the left are the Bungle Bungle Ranges, or what's known for the traditional people as Purnululu. So the journey to Purnululu was made on the June equinox of 2017 at the time of the first rising of the Pleiades in the sky, the Seven Sisters constellation in the southern hemisphere. With a small group of individuals, this journey was made to place an earth treasure vase in the heart of these most sacred lands, accompanied by senior female traditional owners of Purnululu country and other beloved elders and cultural wisdom keepers who accompanied us from other regions. Aligned and guided by the presence and intent of the earth treasure vase as a vessel for catalyzing healing in whichever ways are most needed across the globe, the experience and shared prayer of this journey was potent. Returning from time spent in the heart of this land that had been formed over 350 million years ago, and the experience of sitting with the women who so generously opened their hearts, country, and dreaming to our presence, I was forever changed. The painting Purnululu Dreaming called itself forth in response. And when I began painting this painting, which again was a distilled poetic essence of so much that I had experienced and observed and been immersed in, I began painting, and suddenly, for some reason, I felt compelled to bring close to me, next to where I was painting, a dilly bag. Now, this dilly bag had been given to me by my father, I don't know, 11 years, 12 years prior. And it had been passed on through him by my grandfather, who had passed many decades ago. And he had purchased it in 1983. And I'll share why I know that. So it had been kept in the family, and when I had received it from my father, it had been hanging in the living room for 11 years in one spot, holding pride of place. And it was the only dilly bag basket in my possession. So inexplicably, I just felt one day after I had begun painting that I felt drawn to take the dilly bag off its beautiful position in the living room and bring it close to where I was painting. It was just sitting beside me. And as I continued painting the bungle, the Purnululu formations in this basket of stars that came forward, the dilly bag began to emit for me a kind of a energy and a light that I'd never really noticed before, I hadn't made contact with before. And it was as if the dilly bag began to weave itself into the painting on many levels, within the Purnululu formations, within the basket of stars, within the sun's starry-like portal that was opening up in the corner of the canvas. The whole energetic became infused with the energy of the dilly bag basket. So it felt for me, and this is just something that just began to unfold. Toward the end of the painting, I opened my wardrobe one day and out fell a tag, a handwritten tag, which actually had been inside the basket for many, obviously, decades, and that I had obviously taken out at some point and popped into the cupboard for safekeeping. I don't know why. I think it's because once a bat fell into the basket and I had taken the tag out as part of the process of releasing the beautiful little microbat back to her environment. She'd come into the house accidentally. Anyway, I noticed, because I was a bit more focused, I thought, oh, yes, this comes from the dilly bag basket. And I paid attention to noticing, who made it? What's the information written on the tag? For some reason, I'd always had a sense that the basket had maybe come from the Central Australian desert region. I hadn't ever really taken in the knowledge that had been written on the tag. And as I read the information, I realized that the name of the tribal group and the region sounded like the region from which two of the most beloved elder women had come from on our journey through Purnululu, not from the Purnululu region, but from the Arnhem Land region. And I thought, my goodness, I had no idea. And I wondered whether if I contacted one of the women, one of the elders, she might maybe know a little bit more about the context of that basket and the area from which it had been crafted. So I just followed the impetus. And this is important for us, to just follow that little urging, that little nudge, instead of, I could have thought, oh, well, no, it's a fine. But I just felt this prodding. So I rang and left a message and asking, say, oh, I found this, information. I have this dilly bag and this is the name of the lady who made it. And this is the region, her tribal group. And this is the date that it was made. And nothing could have prepared me for when she rang back almost immediately with a sob in her voice to share that the basket had been made by none other than her mother, her birth mother, in 1983. her mother, who had passed many decades ago and who had been a ceremonial dilly bag and basket weaver and healer. She had made that very same basket, her mother. And this beautiful woman, this beautiful elder, we had never met before. This was the first time we had met through this journey to Purnululu. And we laughed and cried with this extraordinary, absolutely incredibly magical manifestation. And it, for both of us, it was such a sense of, again, the magic, the dreaming of the threads, the gossamer threads that we are each woven by, and that can come in and bring things into our lives. For this lady to even see her mother's name written, because I sent her a copy, a photograph of the card, and to know that her mother's dilly bag had been loved and cherished and cared for all this time and held so much meaning in our family and in my life. And it had been that this beautiful woman had given me a name as her skin daughter while we were on our journey. And she shared with me that now this had changed, that I was now her sister because her mother was now my mother. So we were woven together as yapas, as sisters, in a way most unprecedented. And I share this with you because each of us have these stories of wonderment, of absolute unbelievable magic. And we may never share them with anybody else. And sometimes we don't even recognize them fully and receive the elixir, the soma, the manna that they offer. And it wasn't that then story, sits in a box and there's the beginning, the middle, and an end, and it means A, B, C, D. For my beautiful elder sister, it had its own meaning, and for me it had its own meaning, and for the two of us together another threefold meaning. And then that meaning changes and continues to inform itself. It doesn't end, it keeps opening out, and it's like a jewel that we come back to, or the water that we drink again to be renewed, for our spirit to be further nourished and blessed by the living wonderment that can move through us and gather us, into this sacred tapestry that exists, that we are already of. So for each of us to find and honor and recognize sometimes those stories, those threads of magic and mystery. So I really want to share that with you before we now move into the imprint of spirit of the oracle through Purnululu dreaming. That is simply that which was distilled through my own response. Each of the beautiful individuals who walked this journey through and to Purnululu would have their own deep sacred stories. We are each informed and imprinted through our own vessel, and we could each tell and share such beautiful stories that are sacred stories of the soul, of the spirit, that changed us, that opened us to things that we never dreamed of. So it's in honoring this for each of us, and in celebration and in joy. Seed essence. Woven of light, our threads like stars constellations make. The seven sisters of the Pleiades call out their song through the land of dreaming, across and through time. Voice of spirit. I arise from the land and realms of first teaching, my landscape ancient, with eons of exposure to all elements shaped by creation. Do not be afraid of my song, though at first it may seem unfamiliar. Its melody holds the light of the Milky Way embedded in the earth. As you walk your journey of life, as you take each step, know you ground the light of the sun and stars that you are made of. Counsel. We are each woven into the basket of life in all its mystery. Amidst what may sometimes feel like barren or harsh conditions even, we are ever held by our sacred purpose and place. Even if we don't know what this surely looks like, or are journeying through a dark night of the soul, the thread of our existence is necessary to the whole. It is one with the divinity we are made of. Most of the time, we have no idea how intricately our life is nested within a story or stories greater than ourselves. No matter what, we are always perfectly aligned within a sacred decree, even if for the greater part it is beyond our full understanding. When we are gifted the rare experience of conscious insight into the nature of this sacred decree, we are infused with a wonder and awe that can be drawn upon for the rest of our life. Be open to signs and synchronicities and inexplicable magic occurrences. Recognize that your spirit is being gifted with the grace of reawakening to the joy and expansive flight of your innermost dreams and unique light. Touch the stars and the magic of the universe. Be touched by them. In receiving is giving, in giving, receiving. It is a circle, a spiral, an infinite mystery unto itself. The divine is infinitely present within and through you. No matter the outer shape of your world, believe in the great mystery you are exquisitely part of, because the universe needs you to play your part in shining the light of consciousness that is yours through unconditional love for yourself and the sacred story you are in service to. Open yourself to receive and dance the wonder, the poetry, the mystical nature of creation that is you. Trust in your joy and in your light. And before we move into our meditation journey for you to connect and go within and receive, I wanted to share with you, this is the basket. This is the beautiful dilly bag basket. And this is the handwritten tag. So blessings. So I invite you to begin to rest within yourself, making contact through the breath, bringing yourself, gathering yourself onto your body, settling within the space of this sacred vessel that you are, quietening within and allowing any residue of thoughts to arise and dissolve as you move closer into the silence, the rhythm of the breath, allowing everything to settle as you feel yourself upon the earth in this moment. And I'd like to honor the ancestors of this land, the old ones, the original people of this land, this continent, Australia, the spirit of nature, the oneness of all creation. We acknowledge and give thanks in gratitude. And now, and for those of you who are outside of Australia, living on different lands, I welcome you now to this land to bring yourself in your dreaming body, in your imagination, to this land, this ancient land of Miami, that is Australia, to Nunjanatia. Bringing yourself here, we are going to journey to Purnululu. Even if you have never been there or have no idea what it may look like, this doesn't matter. We are bringing ourselves to this sacred land. And perhaps we are gathering around the campfire. We are sitting in an open landscape of grasses, spinifex, small gatherings and groups of eucalypts, of gum trees, and in the distance perhaps some soft rocky outcrops. The actual Purnululu mounds, the Bungle Bungle ranges, are a little distance away. We cannot see them from this place where we are gathered together. And we have been welcomed and greeted by the traditional owners of this land, the senior women, the custodians of this place through time, through all time. We have been blessed, received purification and cleansing, participated in ceremony that prepares us to walk and to rest upon this land, to receive and to give through our hearts. And as the fire dies down, the little campfire and the embers are glowing, everyone is quietening now, sleeping under the stars, in their own space, in your sleeping bag or on a mat with a light covering over your body. As night descends and you fall into a deep, restful sleep, fully at one, welcomed, having fully acknowledged the presence of the old ones and the ancestral beings of this land, and knowing that you are welcome. And in the early hours after midnight, you waken, and yet you also know that you are still asleep. And as you open your eyes, immediately you're looking at the stars above you, and you see Orion's belt and the Pleiades low below. Those 7 stars, of which there are many more, and yet these are like the chakras of the whole constellation, the sentient being that is the Pleiades. And as you look up, you feel this call as if the sound of the stars are singing you. And you begin to take leave of your body with your astral body or your dreaming body, and yet still connected by a silken thread, a silken cord to your physical body, relaxing, laying and resting on your swag on the ground. But you begin to fly gently, to move upward toward the stars, as if some kind of homecoming, something calling you sweetly, an energy and a light that begins to fill indeed your whole body as you move more swiftly toward the seven sisters, the Pleiades, the constellation that is calling you. And as you move closer toward the field of light that is the Pleiades, you pause now as you see coming toward you a beautiful star being. It may be a feeling, a sense of the energy, this quality of light that is love, a quality of fineness, a gossamer purity that is transmitted and radiating from this being toward you, coming toward you to greet you. And it is as if there is some kind of homecoming, some timeless, eternal recognition, an aspect of home. And as you come toward and close into one another's field, the star being extends to you now, offering to you now a beautiful clear crystal. And you receive this crystal. In receiving is giving, in giving is receiving. This beautiful 8-figure of eternity, of reciprocity. You receive unto yourself this gift from the star being of the Pleiades, of the clear quartz crystal. And as it comes into your hands, the crystal actually moves into the whole of your body, as if like liquid light. And in a flash, you remember that the waters of our planet indeed came through from the Pleiades, and that water and crystal are one. And that just like the body of the earth, you yourself with your own body are filled with the waters and the crystal of starry origins. And so you receive into your body the crystal of light, of liquid light, and it becomes one with you. And you experience such clarity, cleansing, purifying, and renewal of every cell of your body, on every level of your body, both light, energy, matter. Every aspect of your being receives unto itself this crystal light, this crystal water that is clear quartz crystal. Giving thanks, you bow your head, and through your body, through your heart center, the crystal of your heart, the divine diamond, and the diamond of the star being make a sound, a song, a clarity, a tinkling, a sharp singing of sound that is the recognition, the greeting, and the receiving of a gift in fullness and in oneness and in gratitude. And in that instant, with this song vibrating through your body, the crystalline waters of your body, you return now, guided by the gossamer thread, back to your physical body, still sleeping restfully and deeply on the ground, covered by the blanket or in your sleeping bag. And you return fully anchoring, fully re-merging back into your physical body now, coming fully unto yourself of the earth, fully embodied, and return into deep, restful sleep, letting all thoughts go. There is no need for anything more than the receiving through the body, through all the bodies of your being, of this sacred gift. And now you awaken, and it is morning. It is the time when the sun has just risen, and the warmth of the sun is spreading across the land, waking all the flowers, the grasses, the warmth of the earth, rising and being brought in through the trunks of the trees and the leaves. And as you awaken, you sit up and you decide that you're just going to take a little morning walk before everything is alive with all the full presence of the day. So you just begin to walk, placing one foot in front of the other, barefoot, feeling the warmth and the texture of the earth, of the ground underneath your feet, the fragrance of the air, the sweetness of the morning, that little bit of moisture in the air as the dry, warm day begins to open itself through the heat of the sun. You hear birds and you notice the light of the grasses as they're swaying, catching the morning rays, little insects perhaps, and really paying attention as you walk gently through the grasses and on the earth to any little details that you notice, little patterns on the earth that may have been imprinted by insects or the feet of birds, or the brushing backwards and forwards of a spinifex grass with the rhythm of the wind as it blew through the night or the days past. Just taking some time to notice the details of nature as you walk this sacred country quietly. And you find yourself now drawn to a small, perhaps grove of the earth, a little patch where you just feel drawn to lay down. Perhaps it's under a slender gum tree or a bush of some sort, or just laying down amidst the grasses. Laying down now and really allowing your body to connect with the earth, feeling the warmth and the body of the earth underneath you and around you. Even more the fragrance of the earth, of the soil, of the dry sands. The warmth of the sun now on your body, increasing its heat. Perhaps looking up and noticing any little birds in the limbs of the tree above you or flying across the sky. Perhaps a brolga lifting up, calling out her song. Taking a few moments to simply be in the silence and the song of country, the detail of nature, the grasses, the smell, the fragrance of this moment. Receiving unto yourself the oneness of all, your belonging to both earth and sky, starry waters, within and without, all elements, known and unknown, present unto you. For this is that which you are made in all your gossamer mystery. Sharing and walking this through this journey of embodied life in communion and in joy. And now, perhaps becoming aware that the busyness and the awakening of the full day is unfolding around you now. You sit up, and as you do, you happen to notice just beside you is a small piece of quartz crystal. You know that this is a gift for you, and it has been offered here, now, in this moment, on this land, for you to receive, to carry with you as a reminder of the all, the mystery that you are made of, and through which you offer yourself in service to this mystery of life that you are of, in all its emanations. And so, with gratitude and wonder, you pick up the small piece of crystal, perhaps tucking it into a pocket or holding it in your hand, and you begin to walk back now to the main camp group, where all your other fellow journeyers, journey makers, are also bringing themselves into the day, filled with their own experiences of wonder, magic, or journeying that they too have experienced through the night and through this morning as the Pleiades rose and the sky opened and the earth breathed. And so, giving thanks now, coming back into your body fully, where you are now, in the room, the place that you are seated, holding within the grace of this experience and whatever it has offered to you, knowing that it will continue to unfold and inform itself through you, to guide you like crystal, receiving, holding memory, transmitting, communicating, all of that and more, the waters, the crystal within the body, the spirit that we are of. And so, giving thanks to Purnululu dreaming and each of our dreamings in all their untold, manifold ways. Thank you so much for joining with me. Take some time to really reconnect with your physical body. Perhaps drink some water and open further to the crystals that are in your life at this time, and even the crystal presence of the flowers, of the plants, of the birds, the crystal within the water that is really coming through at this time. So next session, we are going to connect with Snow Goose. So I really look forward to sharing the oracle that she brings through her beautiful presence, and many blessings. Thank you so much for joining with me, and I look forward to our next journey together. Blessings.